Hi, I'm Tyler McClure. You may remember me from other blues challenges such as... This is my Simpsons impression, if you didn't know. Day number 8. Today we're talking about how to move chord shapes. This lesson is going to be very powerful not only for your blues, but your playing in general. If you want to win an ukulele from Flight, you probably know how to enter the challenge already, but just in case you don't, check the description. You'll also see links to our supportive Facebook groups and other cool stuff over there. A link to the tab for this lesson is pinned in the first comment of the comment section. That is where you will see a tab for all our lessons, and if you like the kind of tabs that we produce, think about becoming a Patreon. Cool, so once you got those tabs, ukulele, brain, and attention span, why don't you follow me on in and let's move these chords around the fretboard. Let's do it. Movable chord shapes. This is going to be more of the longer and more comprehensive videos, but I'll kind of get to the point with what you do for the challenge, but I do want to get into the concept a little deeper so you can apply it on some larger levels and contexts. Chord shapes. This is a G7, but a G7 is really just a G note, a D note, an F note, and a B note anywhere you want, any way you can arrange it. That's why when you play those 4 notes on a piano, it makes the same chord. That's why when you play those 4 notes on a guitar, it makes the same chord. But that also means with 4 notes and 4 strings, we're able to find this combination of notes in other places on the fretboard. And that works with all of them. A C7 we can find in other places on the fretboard. So let's start with this G7 shape here. And instead of these 3 fingers, we're going to use our ring finger, middle finger, and pinky. And I'll show you why. So we can take this same shape and move it down here, and it becomes a C7. Now, we're going to walk through a couple levels of this difficulty-wise. We can start and just take this shape here and move it down here. 7th fret with our middle finger, index finger on the 6th fret, ring finger on the 7th fret of the E. And you would play just these 3 strings. But because this chord actually has a G, we can actually strum all 4 strings. When we move this up 2 frets, 1, 2, it becomes a D7. But with the D7, we can't strum this. So you're either going to mute it with your thumb or just avoid it. And that is 9, 8, 9. Easier on a larger ukulele this high up the fretboard. G7, C7, D7. And it works just like this C7. You can exchange any G7 with any G7, any C7 with any C7, any D7 with any D7. Now, this is a 4-note chord. You could also use these 3 fingers for the C7 and get your index finger on the 5th fret of the G string. And it's actually not as hard as it looks. Move that one up 2 frets. And we have a D7, which would be 7, 9, 8, 9. This is our D note. Our root is on the G string. Okay, so that is one movable shape, and we can do a whole blues with that, but we're going to do a couple other things. Okay, so our C7 is a movable chord as well. And up to this point in the challenge, you haven't needed a bar chord. And in fact, I'm going to do the entire challenge without requiring a bar chord. But if you can play them, you've probably already used this D7. It comes from the C7 shape. When you bar the 2nd fret, and you play the 3rd fret of the A string. Okay, so to turn this into a G7, and the root note for this chord is here. So to make a G7, there's a G note on the 7th fret of the C string. We bar the 7th fret, and we get our pinky on the A string. Now you can use this G7 whenever you use this G7. Check it out. Totally interchangeable, okay? And like I said, when we actually do get to the 12 bar for this lesson, it's going to be bar chord free, just so you know, but I am going to do 2 12 bars for this lesson, and one's going to be slightly more advanced. So let's go ahead and jump in the 12 bar that you're going to use for the 10 Thumbs Blues Challenge. This would be the minimum that you need to do, okay? For the minimum, we're gonna use this shape. So the first 4 measures, classic G7, C7, G7, G7. I'm just going through them really quick because I'm showing you what the 12 bar is. This is the only modification. You're gonna go here for bars 5 and 6. And then back here for 7 and 8. And if you use the G string there, again, not a big deal. If you can mute it, it's pretty good. And then you'll come back here for 7 and 8. And then the turnaround is going to be the same turnaround we've been using for the last 2 days. Okay, so let's go ahead and strum through this one, and then we're going to do the more complicated one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going up the fretboard. Back down. D7, C7, and then our turnaround. And so that would be it, right? Okay, so that is the minimum that I want you to do. Now we're going to get a little deeper. If you can do bar chords, there's some really cool stuff you can learn here. All right, the A7 shape, to turn this into a C7, you bar the 3rd fret with your middle finger on the 4th fret. To make this into a D7, bar the 5th fret with your middle finger on the 6th fret. And although it's not practical, on this size ukulele, if you wanted a G7, you bar the 10th fret with your middle finger on the 11. You could do that on a tenor. E7. The root for this one is here, and the root for this shape is here. A7, A note, C7, C note, D7, D note. E7, E string. I'm using these 3 fingers instead of these 3. So I can move it up, root note there, and make it a G7. 4, 5, 4, 5. G7. C7, which is 8, 10, was 9, 10, 8, 10. Up 2 frets. This is a super cramped D7, which is 11, 12, 10, 12. All right, so what we're going to do now is use a variety of chords to strum through a 12 bar together. And this is, again, more advanced. You don't need this to enter, but if you can do it, have fun with it. For the first 4 measures, we're going to use this G7, quick turnaround to G7, and this G7 based on our E7 chord shape. 4, 5, 3, 5. So the first 4 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for the middle 4, we're going to use this C7, open 7, 6, 7 for bars 5 and 6. Then we're going to bar the 7th fret, middle finger on the 8th fret of the A for 7 and 8. Turn around, bar the 5th fret, middle finger on the 6th fret for the D7. Down 2 frets, bar the 3rd fret, middle finger on the 4th fret for the C7. And then we're going to do our turnaround. Okay, here we go from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, headed to that G shape. Going up the fretboard for the C. Staying up here, barring the 7th fret for the G. Bar the 5th fret for the D7. To the 3rd fret. To our turnaround. So cool. All right, so today was a little longer, but we got some really cool stuff. All right, so there you have it, some chord shapes. Commit them all to memory around the fretboard. Use the root note to even move them and play them in more keys, and experiment with a lot of different orders in your own strumming. You know, get out a piece of paper, write a couple out, get creative, and see how many you can do. It's really going to expand your knowledge of the fretboard and your ability to play the ukulele in general. Very, very valuable stuff. All right, until next time, keep on rocking, keep on rolling. Or you know what? Go ahead and be different. Keep on rolling and rocking. Until next time. Extremely valuable, extremely powerful lesson. A chord is like everything, right? This is a chord. I can move it. Chords are movable like any other object in physical space. And I guess like we're talking about sound, but we're moving the mechanism that produces the sound like anything else. And because we're moving them in the same distance, the change is equal. The mathematics behind sound is pretty incredible. I'm not a physicist. I don't even know if a physicist would be the one to explain the sound, but I'm pretty sure they would be because it's physical science, right? It's just really interesting how it works and kind of how we perceive it. There's 3 elements of music: rhythm, melody, and harmony. And different animals do interpret elements of music. Some, like a parrot, can interpret melody, and like a chimpanzee, for example, can interpret rhythm, but no other animal interprets all 3 of them. So we got pretty lucky, humans. Homo sapiens, I see you. We got pretty lucky, Homo sapiens. And even if you're 10% Neanderthal, actually it's not Neanderthal, it's Neanderthal. H is silent. So if you're 5 or 10% Neanderthal, you got it too. I wonder if the Neanderthals would rockin' and rollin'. Neanderthal blues. I'm a Neanderthal. I have more developed facial features, yeah. All right, until next time, keep on rocking and rolling. Have a lovely day. TenThumbsPro.com. Have a lovely day. That was reverse. Perfect reverse speaking. If you go and you download that and then you play it backwards, it'll say, TenThumbs Pro, have a lovely day. Maybe not. Take care.